The first and last word on air compressors from Boss Industries.
Hi, everyone. Chuck Hamilton once again with Boss Industries, the first and last word on air compressors. We are still in season one, and we actually have a very special guest with us, Richard Miltenberger. He goes by his nickname Dick. When we decided to do a podcast series, and on my short list was having Dick with us, and you'll find out here very shortly how extensive his background is with air compressors throughout the industries, and actually with Boss, and then back again. But hey, Dick, nice to see you. Thank you for doing this with us. I know it's been a long journey to get you here. You're a very busy man. Every time I come see you, you're gone or in a meeting. So I'm going to try and take a little short time out of your day here and have a chat with you.
Great. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity, Chuck. It's been a thrill. I can't believe it's been almost a year since my return to Boss. Boss has meant an awful lot to me over the years, and even in my departure, 13 years ago, it's always been part of my heart and soul, having helped get it off the ground, work with so many good qualified people that continue to get it off the ground. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. The first year coming back, so it's been good.
Well, awesome. And that kind of, when I first joined the Boss family 7 or 8 years ago, where it was, yours was actually one of the first name I heard as I was down in engineering, bugging them, learning about mobile air compressors, and your name always kept coming up. And so when you finally did come back to Boss and join the team, it was nice to see. And now I get it. Now what I know everybody was talking about, praising you about, it's that's why when I wanted to do these podcasts, you're the one I had to grab. You're on the very short list of individuals. So let's start there. Let's go back a little bit of history with you. Where'd you start? How'd you get in industry? Where have you been?
Yeah. So it's been a long journey for me in the compressor field, but initially things started out, I was in high school and I took a couple drafting classes and they really interested me. So, I was pursuing some different avenues there while I was in high school. And in the interim, before I got any work drafting, I started doing some drafting for my father. He was a plant manager with Gerwin Brownwell here in Michigan City, and was doing a consolidation of buildings. So we would work every Saturday, and he'd take me out for breakfast, and then we'd go and do drafting of the machines that were in plants, and move them around on a sheet of paper, the old school way before the computers. And so it really, initially I was thinking maybe a quality engineer or plant layout profession, but having got into joy manufacturing as a co-op drafter during high school, it led into more of a career in the compressor industry. So, would you have asked me 42 years ago, was I going to be in the compressor industry this long? I would have said, there's just no way. But you have a tendency to, when you're working in a field and you get good at something, you earn the respect of your peers. Uh, you have a tendency to stay there longer, and that's really been fundamentally what has moved me through my career, is constantly learning more about compressors, their applications. Having left Joy, or having got laid off at Joy after a short period of time, I worked about a year co-op, and then a couple months full time. They had a layoff in '79. I went over to Solaire, which was quite fortunate because they were just up and coming and going through tremendous growth and different opportunities. So I was there for about 8 years. Uh, a lot of fun, a lot of stories that a lot of people have heard of this.
I've
The,
heard.
the, the early days of Solaire. They're all true. But needless to say, in my career, I've always looked at change maybe differently than other people. Change can be good if you go the direction of change you want. And I think I've always tried to do that, to improve myself in that change and learn more today than I you know, than I knew before. Or the day before. And so with that said, I was at Sullair for about 8 years and saw some changes occurring that I felt weren't going to be in the best interest for Richard. So I applied for a job up at Sullair PTO. Bill Vanderslice was running Sullair PTO at the time, and it was right in a transitional period with Sunstrand having bought Sullair. They were making Bill an offer to take the business over. And so that opportunity let me stay with more of the family orientated mindset of the compressor business, independently owned still, and doing things that were always right and in the correct direction of building a better customer base through loyalty. And
Okay.
it was
Okay.
fun. So
Now, to back you up a little bit, and I know you mentioned Bill Vanderslice's name, which is he's one of the patriarchs in this industry. But
yeah.
this was the early days of going from a tow behind compressor to a PTO driven rotary screw air compressor, correct?
Yeah,
This is
so
right at that heyday, that transition.
yeah, it was a transition. We were still using a lot of components out of a portable and figuring out how to put them in and around on a truck chassis. There wasn't quite the design that Boss had originally launched the company with. The split spin-on coalescer, the sealed tank with no lid. There were some other modifications to our claim to fame on our original launch. So I was with Bill about 2 years, and one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life is leave there a wonderful family oriented company, but yet I knew going forward with the Wilkins brothers that it was going to be just as much fun, and with hard work it was going to be successful. And so
So you came from Solaire to Boss at that point. Was that the jump? You went from Joy to Solaire, Solaire to Boss?
it was Joy, Sullair PTO
Okay, yes.
for a couple years,
Yep.
and then Patrick and I and his brother Paul and Chuck Clabber started Boss. And fundamentally, that group, the four of us, our success was really laid out because we had all the entities of a structure that we needed to win over customers and their loyalty. We had great service, great engineered products coming right out of the chute. We had obviously sales. Pat could talk the pants off anyone back then. He was
Heard that as well.
he could sell ice to an Eskimo. I'll tell you, it was unbelievable. Uh, and then his brother Paul was just a whiz with keeping everything together financially for us. So it was a great initial team, and from there we were fortunate in building uh, Boss from literally nothing to virtually $20 million a year in 20 years. So it was a lot of growth, a lot of fun, many building expansions, a lot of new products, a lot of new people that were just as eager and hardworking as the rest of us. So it was, quite a bit of fun. I was with Boss for almost 20 years and had decided to, it was time to uh, kind of sprout some wings. And
So what time frame was this then? So now after 20 years at the first phase of Boss, what we look at year wise?
so 1988, 89 was the conception of Boss. And
Uh-huh.
then all the way to about 2007 was when I left Boss and went to go work for Sullivan Palatech,
Okay.
which was a wonderful opportunity. Got to work with some really, once again, some qualified individuals that were industry leaders themselves and what they did, and was reacquainted with many new aspects of air compressors and gas compressors. We really the likes of pillars of the compressor industry for managers running the company, and to uh, have to get to reassociate myself with some of the engineers I'd grown up with at Solaire. Uh, were once again instrumental in giving me more growth and understanding and learning after all the years of having done things alone or having built a smaller engineering group. I got to come back and bounce things off of people that were that I respected, and were respected throughout the industry. So uh, it was a lot of fun, and I got to run with that and build up more experience and insight into various aspects of compressor design, which having worked for many companies where you just package a compressor. It was refreshing to go back and get into the inner workings of the screw compressors. So, and get involved in some of the efficiency testing of them. So yeah, it was a nice change of pace for me, and it was exciting. Uh, got to do that for about 7 years. Worked at a coupling industry for a little bit, which was fun in its own rights, and then also a couple of years in the vacuum industry. So not only
Okay, so you not only were just in the air compressors, you were even, like you mentioned, the word vacuum, which is kind of similar. It's almost a reverse technology, if you will. But you stepped out of the air compressor and into the vacuum industry or other industries as well.
yeah, I was blowing for quite some time, and I started sucking, as people like to
Oh,
say.
I knew you
Uh,
were going to go there.
uh, but there is nothing easy about vacuum because of the fact that when people are talking about various vacuums and depths of vacuums, you never know what unit of vacuum they're going to use. There's probably 6 or 7 units that people roll off their tongue at any moment in time. It makes your head hurt.
Okay, yeah, right on. Well, I know
So
you mentioned that when you stepped out, and every time and every one of your job steps, leaps, whatever you want to call it, how much you took from the previous job and how much you've gained in the current position, we'll say it that way, and how much valuable you brought back, or and sometimes even in my career, on from being a creative director to owning my own agency to working for other companies. Every one of those steps along the way, why some of it might have been painful, but at the end of the day, it was so knowledge based that helped me and let me appreciate the positions I've had before and the history or the education I learned along the way.
absolutely. So to try to explain the influences that one has over a career, you could take days because there's been,
Oh,
if you're lucky like I have been, there's been so many people, so many good people, way too many to even begin to mention. But anybody that knows anyone in the compressor industry and people from Michigan City probably know the people that are the power influencers of this industry and in design and packaging and
well, Michigan City, or the Michiana area as we call it around here, we are rotary screw central.
yeah.
That we're kind of like DNA one, aren't we?
It really is. I mean, there were companies outside of Michigan City, when it was just Joy, that it wasn't so inundated with compressor people, which is you know quite a good thing from the standpoint of picking up all the knowledge from everybody around you.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like being in school the whole time, and the compressor people don't have a hard time in telling you what's right and what's wrong.
I found that out.
So anyhow, so again, interestingly enough, it's I got to work with Boss over the years when I was gone. Nick or Todd or somebody would call up, or I would see him occasionally at different events. So, Todd's wedding or something going on at Patrick's Grill, in town where
Yeah. It's
that,
a small world, a
yeah.
small community.
And we talked on a couple different occasions. And at the time, I wasn't ready to go, but as you make decisions in your life, I've based mine on what's going on with that company in terms of change. Are they changing? And are they changing for the good, or are they changing for something I think that's not going to be good? And so I've never been afraid of change, but I also am capable of recognizing when that change isn't going to be good for me. So
Yeah.
uh, that the change that isn't going to be good for me has what allowed me to, you know, move around a little bit and grow. And it's okay that those things happen. It's
It really is. That's what, then you mentioned it, it helps us grow,
yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
you've had these other, you stepped in, you stepped out, and but you always come back to air compressors.
Yeah.
So why air compressors? What's the driving force?
I think it's the people in the industry. I think it's our customers. They are you know, people that are building up America that are using it. Compressed air is I consider to be the fourth largest source of power in the world, and people rely on us. And it's great to have relationships that build loyalty. I mean, you can have satisfaction in your job, you can have satisfaction, customer satisfaction, but when you can build loyalty, people aren't looking. They're picking up the phone and say, "Hey, call boss. Boss will take care of it." And that's
I
really
like that.
to come back to boss and to jump back in where it's not only the same uh, family feel, but the improvements they've made while I've gone is phenomenal. The boss controller system is bar none the finest in any of the product competitors we have. It's got
And that's a topic I want to cover in actually part two, because when we originally you, like I said, you were on my short list of doing these podcasts. I knew we couldn't cover this in a single part, and I want to do a part two. And that's one of the topics, because I know you were integral in that design. But what I want to do, let's cut this one short,
sure.
and we're going to come back. We're going to do part two here later on, but I want to talk some things real key specific to Boss. But I wanted to get our viewers out there to understand, meet you, Dick, who you are, where you come from, because I thought that was so key as our industry, and as I mentioned your name outside of our typical world here, where I'm out in other areas trying to sell a product. When I bring your name up, that carries a big stick. So that's what I wanted some of our other customers realize, what a key element you are here at Boss, and your background here that is just as diverse. And we find that you are one of the patriarchs, if you will, in the rotary screw industry, mobile air industry here in the Michiana area.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous field because of all the different opportunities to package compressors differently.
Awesome.
You name it, we'll hang an air compressor on something.
One way or another. Well, hey, I won't take up any more time, but we will come back here shortly. But this has been a great part one. Part two is coming up soon with the interview with Richard Miltenberger. But on behalf of our viewers, thank you. Thank you for watching the first and last word on air compressors with Boss Industries. And on this episode, we featured Richard Miltenberger. But we're going to be back with the part two, because this is going to get good. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.